Picture this, you're 28 years old, making $500,000 a month.
My business has officially hit 6 figures today.
You have over 1 million social media followers, and you are absolutely miserable.
I just feel disappointed in myself, like my time is over and I blew it.
This is exactly what happened to one of the most successful creators in the social media space. And what she did next will shock you. In 2018, Vanessa Lau was working as a barista to pay her bills while building her side business. Just 4 years later, at age 28, she had built an $8 million empire teaching social media strategy. And then at 29, she burned the whole thing down.
I did it pretty much at the height of my career. I had 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, 250,000 followers on Instagram, a multiple 7-figure online course business. I was finally speaking on stages. I was also popping off. Like, my channel was doing really well. It was getting a lot of views. But I ultimately decided that this life ain't for me, and I peaced out.
What happened to Vanessa reveals a pattern that is quietly destroying creator businesses across every niche. The creators who ignore those warning signs, they're the ones who end up trapped in golden cages of their own doing. I'm Erika Vieira, YouTube channel producer, coach, and strategist for women. I've worked behind the scenes of over 2,000 creators for nearly 10 years. For more information about me and what I do, I listed it all in the description below. And I want to be clear, Vanessa is exceptionally talented at what she does. She's one of the most insightful creators in this space. And her openness about her journey is exactly what the creator community needs more of right now. While I don't know her personally and I've never spoken with her directly, I have studied her experience. And drawing on my own work as a strategist and YouTube producer, I'm going to share key takeaways from her journey that reveal powerful insights into the YouTube and creator landscape. The creators who look the most successful on the outside are often fighting battles that nobody sees. And Vanessa's journey from barista to millionaire to burning it all down before the age of 30, it reveals 3 critical lessons that could be the difference between building a creator business that fulfills you or one that slowly destroys you from within. So if you're a content creator thinking about starting a YouTube channel or building your personal brand online, what you're about to learn could save you years of heartache. Because the first lesson, it is something 90% of creators get wrong from day one. Ladies, class is in session.
Now back then, the golden advice was to stick to a niche. But now we are seeing last generation of creators burning out from following that advice.
Here's what's crazy. Vanessa was very talented at what she did. She understood social media better than almost anyone. She could capture an audience, she knew how to create content that performed, and the market absolutely loved what she was teaching. But that success, it became the very thing that trapped her. And most creators don't see this coming until it's too late. Here's what's actually happened. Vanessa never intended to become this social media guru. But when she started creating content about Instagram and YouTube growth, the market responded like crazy.
I did a video about Instagram. My video ended up taking off. Like today it's got like what, 6-7 million views. And so my channel just completely took a turn overnight. Now everybody wanted me to talk about Instagram. And so I gave what the people wanted. And that also helped my channel because I was getting so much traffic from that video about Instagram. So the more videos I did about Instagram, those people would just watch those videos. And so all those videos would get like hundreds and thousands of views. And I grew my channel pretty quickly that way. I ended up getting like 100,000 subscribers within a year or like 2 years, like less than 2 years for sure. And so looking back, I feel like I never, like it was amazing, but I didn't choose to build that type of business. You know what I mean? Like it was never my intention to be like, I'm gonna build a business that's gonna teach people about social media and my channel's direction is gonna be all about that. Like, it was never supposed to be like that, but that's what people wanted. And so I followed it and it paid off because I would not be in this house if I didn't do that. So I cannot regret it, you know?
By 2021, she was doing 300,000 revenue months consistently. She had a team of 9 employees. She was speaking at major events. She had become that Instagram expert girl.
And that course was called the BOOTCAMP Academy. Now, it was really successful. When I first launched it, I made $200,000 and I posted this video of myself literally crying to strangers on the internet because this was the most money that I had ever made in my entire life. I'm so honored and happy to announce that my business has officially hit 6 figures today. And a year ago, I was in the cubicle asking myself how I could get to this point. I'm sorry, I didn't think I'd cry. Like a year ago, I was literally asking myself, how can I get that for my life? And today I just did it, and I'm so happy.
But here's what she realized. She had built what the market wanted. not necessarily what she wanted. She was creating content about topics that didn't energize her anymore.
Adding more team members meant adding more expenses. It meant feeling more pressure and more responsibility to keep this machine running. So no longer was I only creating videos because I felt like it, because I thought it was fun. It was now a necessity to show up every single day. And yes, that's great accountability, but sometimes with that pressure, it could be really stressful. Couldn't find me in my business anymore. For example, when I looked at my content, honestly, all I could see was frickin' Alex Hormozy. Because at some point in the game, he was an up-and-comer, now he's huge, but he was kind of like the standard for how your reels and how your content should look like. And so I edited my videos to be just like Alex's. Even if you look at like my quote posts and stuff, it looks like Dan Koe's, because Dan Koe was an up-and-coming creator and now is huge. And so I always felt like I needed to replicate other people's success.
She was teaching things that felt disconnected from who she was becoming as a person.
I put myself in a box, and I felt like for the longest time I couldn't get outside of that box. And it was so drastic to the point where I actually burned down my entire business.
And when you're making millions from something, walking away feels pretty much impossible. You've got team members depending on you, audience expectations, financial obligations. As Vanessa put it, I've traded my 9-to-5 for 24/7. The business became a monster that she just had to keep running.
I burned down like a multiple 7-figure online course business where I was teaching social media.
And the breaking point came when she realized she couldn't find herself in her business anymore. She was completely drained, disconnected from her purpose, and despite all of the external success, she was miserable.
So I was reflecting and I was thinking about how miserable I was. For like 3 years of my career being a creator, I've been in the game for maybe 6-7 years. And half of that, I was miserable. I am someone who's speaking on stages. I'm making like $500,000 a month. I am rubbing shoulders with people that you guys all like look up to online. I also look up to online. I was meeting my heroes, but I just felt completely drained. Like I just felt tired all the time. Like it was just not a good time in my life. I felt like all of my people pleasing had caught up to me because I would just say yes to everything. I would say yes to whatever my team members wanted, whatever my coaches or mentors wanted, whatever you guys wanted. And it just caught up to me because I just said yes to so many things where I just woke up one day and I was like, none of this shit is actually what I want to do. None of this shit feels like mine.
Feeling unfulfilled, Vanessa made the drastic decision to shut everything down in 2023, dissolving her multi-7-figure business and letting go of her team. And on top of that, she took a year-long sabbatical from YouTube to focus on self-care, travel, and time with family. During that break, she had time to reflect and figure out what she really wanted. After a year, Vanessa returned to YouTube with a new content approach, which I'll be covering more in later on in this video. She's also experimenting with new business ventures like a milk tea business with her husband. Working with creators behind the scenes, I see this pattern play out a lot. Creators get known for one thing, and that one thing starts to define their entire identity. They become the Instagram girl, the organization person, the productivity lady, or the fitness coach. And while that focus does help them grow, can also limit who they're allowed to become. What Vanessa learned and what she's been incredibly honest about is that when your content isn't aligned with who you are, burnout isn't just possible, it's inevitable. You cannot fake passion forever.
Happy creators make consistent creators. And when you are unhappy, it doesn't matter what the reason is, okay? It doesn't matter if it's not logical. If you are not happy and you hate creating, you will not want to create.
So lesson number 1 is this: niche focus can be incredibly powerful for growth, but you have to plan for evolution because you're going to change as a person. Your interests will shift and your content needs room to grow along with you. Plus, it can box you in and prevent you from exploring possibilities that might actually be a better fit for you.
So the first thing I learned through this process is the moment that you decide to put a label on what you're trying to create is the moment that you may constrain yourself to its rules. I was teaching that before. Find a niche, and it gives you structure and it gives you guidance. But at the same time, maybe we should have some awareness of the fact that what if it's actually limiting us? What if it's actually blocking us from finding the next best thing? What if it's actually blocking us from serving a whole nother segment of people that we otherwise would not have considered because we put ourselves in that box?
Here's where it gets a little bit more complicated, because the advice that Vanessa gives now about authenticity, it sounds perfect in theory, but there's something a lot of creators don't realize about building authentic personal brands. Lesson 2 is what I call the authenticity paradox. And this is where Vanessa's story gets really, really interesting, because the advice she gives now about being authentic from day one, it's actually really sound advice, but there is a catch. Vanessa can say this because she already has over 1.2 million followers who are invested in her as a person. She's credible, experienced, and has an incredible foundation.
But one thing I do wish I did was share more about my love for milk teas. I would always drink them off camera on the side. And lo and behold, years later, I ended up building a milk tea business. And if I had known that this was something that I was gonna do, I would have been way more vocal about my interests around this area, around how much bubble tea I actually drink in real life. But I didn't do that because I felt like it wasn't professional. I wanted to stick to a niche. It's very unrealistic to think you're gonna talk about the same thing for the rest of your life and still be happy.
But what if instead you approached your content as, I'm just gonna create what's on my heart, I'm gonna create what interests me, I'm gonna allow myself to be pulled into the things I wanna create, then you may discover a whole new niche or a whole new segment of audience or a whole new opportunity that you otherwise would not have found if you just solely labeled yourself as a beauty influencer.
But there's a gap between the ideal advice and the practical reality that most creators face when they're starting out. The difficulty is that the algorithm is trained to identify patterns based on viewer behavior. And for somebody that's new to YouTube, new to the platform, new to social media, one of the easiest ways to start and get recognition is to lean into a niche. It might not be all of who you are, but it's something that can get you going and seeing some momentum. The algorithm rewards creators who are very, very specific about who they're serving and what topic that they're covering. So here's the paradox. You need authenticity for long-term success, but you often need strategic focus, aka a niche, to get the initial traction that allows you to build an audience who will eventually care about your authentic self. And here's the thing about Vanessa is that she actually proved this. When she first started, she was talking about a bunch of different topics. But when her social media niche content performed really well, she leaned into it. That's how she built the BOOTCAMP Academy and got those $300,000 revenue months.
Thanks to the team and thanks to the course, I was able to make my first $1 million online. And within a few short years, I think within 4 years, that $1 million turned into $8 million. And so what I'm trying to say is that it worked.
And personally, I see this a lot. Creators want to skip straight to the authentic, multi-dimensional phase and get frustrated when it doesn't work immediately. But what about that business owner who's never been on camera? What about the coach who's brilliant at what they do, but has no idea how to create compelling content? Or that same business owner, that entrepreneur that basically has one goal for YouTube, to funnel people into their business. Most people can't blow up across multiple topics right out of the gate. It's very difficult to do, and it requires a lot of skill from the start. Building an audience that cares about your personal life takes time, skill, and initial foundation of trust. The lesson? Authenticity and strategy are not enemies. Sometimes the most authentic thing you can do is start with what you know. Find a solid niche, build an audience who trusts you, and then gradually show them more dimensions of who you are. But even if you can master this balance, there is still a challenge that trips up many creators, because building a personal brand that people actually care about, it's a lot harder than it looks. Lesson number 3 is what I call the personal brand myth. And this is where I need to get real with you about something that most creators, they don't want to hear it.
There are a lot of creators out there who are building a huge following, they're making a lot of money, but I know they have a very weak personal brand. They built their platform being known as the Instagram coach, the YouTube expert, the finance guy, but if they ever tried to pivot, I have a feeling that a lot of their audience would not support them in the same way. Because their audience never really cared about them as people, they just cared about the information that they were providing on a specific subject.
Vanessa talks about building personal brands and sharing storylines of yourself, which is actually what I suggest people do, especially when they're vlogging and they have that kind of channel and content.
I would build my brand around a storyline, not a subject. So I would try to get people invested in my journey and see me as the main character of my brand.
But here's what she doesn't always mention. It is very difficult to do so when you're a newer creator. After Vanessa burned down her entire business and took that year-long sabbatical, she had a realization. She needed to come back. but she needed to come back differently. And here is what's brilliant about her comeback. None of what she had done was wasted. All that experience being a social media expert, being good on camera, being engaging, crafting compelling content, that was all still there. It was just a pivot, another evolution in who she is. And everything she had learned helped her in this new phase. When she came back, she started being multidimensional. She shared her fitness journey, her milk tea business, Super Boba, her personal struggles, and something interesting happened. She started having fun with her content again. She was experimenting, playing in the creative playground.
I one day posted a video of me doing the Bulgarian split squats. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. I want to post it on my stories, but what if I actually posted it on my reels? That video now has 3 million views and has gained me about 1,000 new followers. This performed way better than my usual content about social media on Instagram. Recently, I posted a video about my sweatpant jeans and I was like, oh my gosh, these jeans are the best thing ever. And that video has 1 million views now and I gained 1,500 new followers from that. Again, outperformed any of my typical niche content.
And that creativity paid off. But here's the thing, that didn't happen because of her established personal brand. That happened because she was really good at creating content. And here's the paradox. If she had stuck with what she was doing before, would she be experimenting and having fun with her content? Probably not. She talks about how dropping her established niche allowed her to be more creative, which is what allowed those breakthrough moments to actually happen. Now, what is working because of her established brand is her long-form YouTube content, where she's more relaxed, where she's talking about her journey and behind the scenes of what's happening. People are interested in that journey because they like her and they trust her. But here is the reality check. Working as a strategist and coach with so many creators, I see them try to replicate this approach from day one. They want to share their morning routines, their random thoughts, their lifestyle content, and then they're confused when nobody cares or watches. It's not that easy to be a personal brand that people care about. Vanessa had years of experience creating content, being on camera, understanding what makes content engaging. A lot of people who want to create content for their businesses don't have that background. They're not coming from the social media world. They have to start somewhere. And on top of that, even before YouTube and her course business, Vanessa worked her way from branding and marketing internships at Coca-Cola and L'Oreal to a brand manager role at L'Oreal Canada, where she helped launch multi-million-dollar products. So even before YouTube, she was in that world of branding and marketing and has experience from that. The myth is that just being yourself on camera is enough. It's not. But being an interesting personal brand that people want to follow, that's a skill that takes time to develop. What's easier and more realistic is focusing on one topic that you know about, that you can teach, that provides value to people. And then once you've built that foundation of trust and skills, you can start expanding to show more dimensions of who you are. So being able to study Vanessa has been really amazing because she's been so transparent about her entire journey. So it's given us as other creators a lot of insight and information about what happens when somebody of her size experiences something so massive in their own career. And this transparency about her experience is exactly what the creator community needs. And the lessons aren't really about what she did wrong. They're about understanding the patterns in her journey that can help you build a more sustainable creator business from the start. So here are the specific takeaways you can apply to your creator business right now. First, implement what I call the evolution audit. Every 6 months, ask yourself, does my content still energize me? Is it fulfilling my goals? Know what your goals are, both creatively and financially, and make sure what you're creating aligns with them. If you're dreading creating videos about your niche, that's your early warning system. Don't wait too long to address it, because then you end up burning out and quitting. Before you reach that point, maybe you can pivot. Second, use what Vanessa calls her content strategy framework. One for you, one for me, one for life.
Thinking that I either needed to be the super professional expert in a topic or thinking that I needed to be nicheless, a vlogger. Either spectrum, either extreme made me very unhappy. And so I found a happy medium, which is me rotating between these 3 buckets. One for you, one for me, and one for life. Now, creating content that's one for you is basically making videos that I know will please brand sponsors, the algorithm, you guys. It's my typical how to grow on social media videos. Even this video is technically categorized as one for you. But to offset that, because if I only make content that's for you, I will literally lose my mind. I then offset that with content that's for me. These are my vlogs, my photo dumps, maybe even newsletters where I'm really sharing my life experience, going on threads and yapping about whatever I want. It allows me to fill my creative cup, but also in a way future-proofs my personal brand because I can talk about things that are outside of the subject matter that I'm known for. And then finally, there's one for life. I like to feel like I'm working within my purpose, and I like to feel like I'm genuinely helping people. And sometimes when I talk about subjects like how to grow on Instagram, even though I know they're helping people, it doesn't feel like I'm contributing in a big way, because I know that Instagram one day will die off. And so when I make videos that are more about broader subjects like how I deal with social anxiety, my self-confidence, being a little bit more vulnerable, sharing my experiences, I genuinely feel like I am out there helping someone through that video.
Then build what I call authenticity bridges. Don't just pivot overnight like Vanessa had to. Instead, gradually show different dimensions of yourself within your niche. Introduce a vlog maybe once a month. Try a get ready with me. Create content that doesn't have to be perfect. More relaxed content that brings people inside your world a little bit more than what your niche typically covers. Fourth, have patience and embrace imperfection.
Doing a 180 on your identity overnight is unrealistic as fuck. And you just have to, I just have to embrace the pace that I'm at, but still be open to challenging myself and just have grace on myself during this time period where I am doing a pivot or where I'm trying to embrace who I am and I'm trying to grow. And growing is going to be uncomfortable. I hope that this video gives you courage to actually just pause. You don't have to quit, but you can pause, to slow down and to reflect and to get to know who you are, because your values are going to change over time.
Having patience allows you to evolve as a creator over time, and getting rid of that need for perfection gives you that creative freedom. Vanessa talks about being stuck in making sure that her content was perfect. But when you give yourself that creative freedom, maybe not on every single video, but on some, it allows you to create content that is really fulfilling and can be a great connection piece for your audience. And finally, remember the skill building reality. If you're new to creating content, be patient with yourself. Right now, what you're doing is building those skills. Vanessa was able to blow up while building those skills. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes you have to keep going and build the skills, and eventually you'll start reaching your goals. I actually did a whole video on just that and how important it is for you to just put content out there to build the skills, and you can go ahead and check that out later. But regardless of whether you blow up right away or it takes you time, know that what you're doing now is building up those skills to be a good content creator. And I have to say, I'm a huge fan of Vanessa. I think she's incredibly smart. We're lucky to have her in this space. She's somebody who, even at a really young age, understands how to communicate to an audience. She's worth watching, and I have so much respect and admiration for her, and I really hope for her continued success. I have no doubt that whatever she touches is going to be successful. What I appreciate most is how authentic and open she is, showing that not everything she does is perfect, even though it might look like it from the outside. She's willing to pull back the curtain and reveal the real struggles, which is so important for people to see. Even if you're making millions of dollars, even if you're seemingly successful, there are bumps in the road. So huge shout out to Vanessa for being such a rock star and for being an amazing woman in this community. And the creators who thrive long term are the ones who build sustainable businesses around who they really are, not just what performs well. But building that kind of business requires strategy, skills, and understanding how to grow an audience that will follow you through every evolution of your career. And if you want to learn exactly how to do that, I break down my complete framework for building a sustainable YouTube channel in my next free live masterclass. I hope you can join me there. And it's everything I've learned from working with over 2,000 women YouTube creators, and it could be exactly what you need to build a creator business you actually want. And keep watching here on YouTube. Check out my video on YouTuber Anna Bay and how she faced a similar golden cage with her content. Until next time, keep shining, keep creating, and most importantly, keep being you. And subscribe if you made it all the way to the end. Mwah.